Hello, everyone. Welcome to day one of the 3-day sound therapy challenge for tinnitus relief. My name is Ben Thompson. I'm an audiologist and founder of Treble Health. I've been dedicated and 100% focused on tinnitus and what we can do to improve it over the last 6 years. This is a big passion for me. It's a labor of love. And now we have a team of audiologists who work via telehealth nationwide, specializing in tinnitus. Well, what we know is sound therapy is a big part of what helps our patients get better. So I was thinking of different ways to creatively show you the benefits of sound therapy and help hold your hand and guide you through an introduction to what it can do. One of the biggest mistakes that I see for patients and for those looking for help with tinnitus is that they may think they're doing sound therapy, but really they're not. They may have played a YouTube video for 5 minutes and they then tell me, I already tried sound therapy, it didn't work for me. And part of my discussion today is to educate you on what sound therapy really is and help you get started in a science backed, helpful way. So, on day one today, I want you to listen to pink noise for about 3 hours. And then I want you to listen to silk, which is a different kind of sound therapy, for about 1 hour. And then listen to crickets, which is a different form of sound therapy, for another hour. The purpose of today in the challenge is to show us that there's different sounds that resonate and help in different ways. One person here may have the best response to silk, which is one of our custom sound therapies in collaboration with a sound engineer, Dale Snell. However, someone else may say, no, I don't hear that well. It doesn't mix in with my tinnitus that well, but crickets do a great job for me, or pink noise does a great job for me, or even other sounds like I had seen in the chat here in the comments that natural water sounds did well for one patient. So here's the protocol. Here's what I want you to follow today. Listen to pink noise for about 3 hours today. And some of you are the overachievers. You've already done this, and I love it. But for some of you who haven't done this yet, I want you to hear pink noise for about 3 hours. And then later in the day, I want you to listen to silk, a different kind of sound therapy, for 1 hour, followed by listening to crickets for 1 hour as well. Tomorrow, we're going to review the results. We're going to make sense of, okay, you tried these different sound therapies. Well, what does it mean? My goal is to make this simple for you and to educate you on the benefits of following sound therapy for tinnitus relief. Well, first we have to demonstrate and sample different sounds. If you don't have, if you haven't already, then remember you can just search pink noise on Google, and there's a pink noise YouTube video by Dale Snell, and that video is a great one to use as your pink noise sample. I will instruct you on how to use silk and how to use crickets as well, and where to find those. Let's address the main problem in the tinnitus community. The main problem that I see in the tinnitus community is that there are doctors and other professionals, other people, even some websites that say, quote, there's nothing you can do for tinnitus. That's simply not true. That message is one of the main myths or misunderstandings about what kind of resources are available for tinnitus. And I'm passionate about this because if we can change this narrative, if we can show individuals that there is something that can be done for tinnitus, and there's research that's independently performed to showcase the benefits of tinnitus retraining therapy, sound therapy, and other ways to manage tinnitus, that instead of saying there's nothing you can do for tinnitus, you're instead educated on the options. In our own practice at Treble Health, we recently completed a study of over 250 patients, and we found that 75% of patients who worked with our team showed a clinically significant improvement in their tinnitus within 6 months. Clinically significant means this is a high standard. The researchers who created the Tinnitus Functional Index, which is the way to measure tinnitus on a scale from 1 to 100, that the researchers who created that, they understood that tinnitus can fluctuate week to week, day to day even. But to have a clinically significant shift is something over 12 points. If you can have over a 12-point shift, then the patient will describe, yes, I'm feeling better. Yes, my tinnitus is either less intrusive, I'm less aware of it, and the volume may be softer as well. So that clinically significant change is meaningful. And the time window for tinnitus treatment using sound therapy and other means, it's often in a 6 to 18 month time window. That is one of the hardest parts about this, is that there is a slow uh, a slow treatment effect. So it's a marathon, not going to dramatically change here in days or weeks. This takes time, but this is the best treatment that's available. I've looked at the research, I've compared our research to different groups. I've compared best practice tinnitus retraining therapy to some new research or some new devices that are out there. And this model is the best performing, confident in that. Well, here's again more details on the specific study that we found with our patients. And a big part of what we do is sound therapy. So if you can learn sound therapy from me, I'm giving you tools to then follow a similar system that our patients have used. So again, this study has 247 patients. Excuse me, earlier I said over 250. It's 247 patients. And at the 3-month mark, the average reduction in that tinnitus functional index score was 20 points. So remember, we wanted to see more than 12, and we saw an average 20-point reduction. A big part of what our patients do is sound therapy. So you can see this has an impact. Now, at the 6-month mark, 6 months after starting sound therapy, 6 months after getting help with our team, the average reduction was 25 points. That's about 2 times the significance level that the researchers set out as the threshold for someone having a meaningful, clinically significant change. So I'm really proud of this. There was a lot of work that had to take place to get this data to where it is. There was a lot of appointments. There was a lot of time. But look where these patients are now. And we expect that 75% number to increase to between 80 and 85% treatment effectiveness, because that's consistent with best practices for tinnitus retraining therapy. All right, let's focus again on why you're here, which is sound therapy. I know the chat is very active, and I see a lot of great questions, a lot of engagement. Let's remember to be positive here. Let's remember to be supportive of each other. I know that you guys are doing great here. So I see some questions of, is the audio working? It's working on my end, and Danielle can check that on her end, but I think everyone else is able to hear. All right. So let's talk about day 1 here with just sound therapy and the protocol to follow. So we're going to use YouTube. We're going to use free apps. We're going to use sound therapies that are available for free online. And the smartphone on the right side of the screen here, it showcases how some sound therapies are available for free. Now, this is the most accessible. It's also the least effective, quite honestly, because your phone has interruptions. Your phone isn't meant to be used for consistent sound therapy, but it's better than nothing, and it's free. So we're going to use that to start. Everyone's going to be on an equal playing field there. One step up from that would be a sound machine. You can see the device here that I'm showing on the screen. This can be used for tinnitus relief, as well as hyperacusis if you have sound sensitivity. So the sound machine here comes with a preset sounds that are designed for tinnitus: natural water running, pink noise, white noise, crickets. These kinds of sounds come within the sound machine. And you would be able to play this indoors, for example, in your home office or in your bedroom. You can use this during the day or at night. Now, our top choice, the ideal system, the ideal technology to use for sound therapy treatment would be tinnitus maskers or hearing aids that are programmed for tinnitus. These are lightweight, discreet, they're small, they sit up and behind the ear, they have this thin wire going alongside the skin with a rubber tip inside of the ear canal. These do not block your ears like headphones or AirPods, because they have these natural holes in the rubber tip. So you can still hear conversations, you can still hear sounds, you can still hear ambient noise around you. That is crucial to get the most benefit of sound therapy. Your brain still wants to hear sounds around you. And every time you close your ears, let's say with AirPods or your fingers even, or headphones, what do we notice? The outside world gets quieter and our tinnitus gets louder. So that's something we want to avoid. And because of that, these devices are the preferred method for how to sustainably use sound therapy until your treatment is completed. Tinnitus retraining therapy is the protocol, the system that I'll be basing the 3-day challenge off of. And again, ideally, tinnitus retraining therapy, the protocol is designed to use ear level tinnitus masking devices, as well as working one-on-one with an audiologist to answer your questions, reduce the psychological impact of the condition, get you unstuck, guide you through the anxiety, worrying, hyper-focusing, attention, focus, stress, sleep, all of these things that can happen and are pretty common. We guide you through those and certain techniques which can change mental reactions, change behaviors, and answer your questions about what is going on and explain what's going on. That makes a big difference. So that's how tinnitus retraining therapy works ideally. And the goal here is to reach what we call stage 4 of habituation. What we've learned over the decades is that the best treatment, the best management strategy for tinnitus is to promote this natural brain process called habituation. The brain is able to reduce the awareness and perception of the sound of tinnitus when it can learn and be conditioned in a specific way. Right now, the brain is often categorizing tinnitus as a danger, a threat, an unknown. And what we want to show the brain over time through sound therapy and through specific education and knowledge is that we understand tinnitus. We know what we can do about it. We know the ins and outs of why it's there, what caused it, and what solutions are available for you. And we have used sound therapy over time to help the brain reduce the awareness and perception of the sound. During that period, the sound usually gets softer too. And of course, I want that for each of you that are here is to reduce the awareness of tinnitus, how much it affects us day to day, how often we think about it or hear it, and then the volume, reducing that as much as possible. So this is called the 4 stages of habituation. And most of you who are looking for help, in my experience, fall into either stage 1 or stage 2, where there is the highest awareness and annoyance of tinnitus throughout the day, frequent worrying or anxiety regarding tinnitus. You may have stopped doing everyday activities. It's often accompanied by loss of sleep or appetite. Now, with sound therapy treatment and following tinnitus retraining therapy, you can promote process of habituation to get through these 4 stages over time. And that's the goal, to get to stage 4, where tinnitus is rarely noticed. You can quickly redirect your attention from it, and it no longer elicits automatic feelings or thoughts. Sound therapy is a big part of this. I need you to follow this. Our recommendation to our patients is to use sound therapy until you have a few months of consistent stage 4 tinnitus, stage 4 habituation. So you use sound therapy like these devices I'm showing you here. You use sound therapy until you reach stage 4 of habituation. At that time, you don't need to use sound therapy anymore. You don't need to use tinnitus maskers on your ears during daytime hours. You don't need to have the smartphone app playing sound therapy or the sound machine playing sound therapy. That's a key point here. So the goal for everyone is to get to stage 4 habituation. And as I said earlier, during this process, the volume usually gets softer too. This works if you've had tinnitus for just a few weeks or a number of years. There's nothing permanently broken in your system. So through neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to change, the tinnitus can shift over time because tinnitus is mainly a neurological condition. All right. So earlier, you probably have tried pink noise. And if you haven't already, I'm going to demonstrate how to find that pink noise track right now. Let me go and share my screen. I'm going to go on Google and show you guys how to find pink noise. I want everyone to have access to this. So the easiest way to do it is to go to google.com, and I want you to search pink noise. And the first one that comes up for me is the Pink Noise by Dale Snell. That's the one that I want us all to use here. And there is a 5-second ad at the beginning. Just skip that ad. Once you're there, you'll be able to listen to the pink noise. All right. So I'm going to demonstrate what that sounds like just for about 10 seconds so we're all on the same page. Let me share my sound here. If you're sensitive to sounds, then please go ahead and turn the volume down on your phone or computer, just so I make sure that we're not causing too much loud noise here. All right, so here we go. I'm going to play this sound right now for about 10 seconds. All right, excellent. So that was a demonstration of how to find pink noise and listen to it. So again, you can search on your phone or computer, pink noise, Dale Snail, or just pink noise, Dale, or pink noise, and you should find that pink noise YouTube video. Keep that in the background during daytime hours. Remember, the first assignment for today is to have that in the background for 3 hours. If that sound is causing you to feel irritated, if that sound does not mix well with your tinnitus, if you feel anxious about it or you don't like it, then switch to another sound. If the tinnitus retraining therapy protocol states that if a certain sound is causing a negative reaction to your negative response, then we don't want to keep using it. We want to switch and find another sound. And that's partly what I'm showing you today, is to find a good sound that you can use. Ideally, we would have a default sound like a pink noise or a water running or a white noise. We would choose a default sound that doesn't fluctuate too much, and we would have that going for most hours of the day. And then if we wanted to switch, if we wanted to change, if we wanted to mix it up, then we could use one of these sounds that I'm showing here. So that's how I would recommend using sound therapy, having that consistent default sound, and then having a handful of other trusted sounds that are approved by an audiologist that you've had good success with mixing after trying it with your tinnitus, and have those handful of other sounds that you can go to if you're having a hard day, if you want to break, if you want to mix it up, if you just want to switch and hear a different type of sound. Let's now listen to Silk now for about 10 seconds. So a similar process here. I'm going to play Silk and we'll listen to it together. All right, so that was Silk. And some individuals respond well to this. Others say, no, I don't really like it, or no, I can't, it doesn't work well for me. So I know this was coming in a little soft here, but again, this is over Zoom. This is the audio streaming feature. This is a rough demonstration. I'm just getting us all on the same page. If you search this one on YouTube, Tinnitus Silk, then you'll be able to find it quite easily. So I want to do that with you because I want all of you to have these sounds accessible. We will send this in the follow-up email as well, so you have the link to the sounds. But let me just show you again how to find Silk on by searching on the computer. So whether you're coming from a phone or a desktop, let me just show you right now. So I'm on google.com, and here's how you can do it. You can search Tinnitus Silk, and then you'll see here, right here, Tinnitus Silk. If you click that link, it will bring you right to this YouTube video. There's an intro, and then you can listen to this for hours. So that's assignment number 1, is to hear that sound for 1 hour today so that you can come up with a judgment, a response, a feeling of this sound was either soothing, helpful, it was neutral, or it was bad. It didn't work for me, or it created a negative response. All right. Obviously, if it creates a negative response, you don't need to do the full hour, but this is part of the exercise. All right. So now let's imagine that you're on a smartphone, right? So go on Google on your smartphone, and then similar thing. I want you to search tinnitus silk. This is where you have tinnitus silk right there. You can click it, and boom, you're right there hearing the sound. You're able to listen right there on YouTube. You can also search on the YouTube app. You can search tinnitus silk, and that's a way to find the video as well. All right, so that's how to find tinnitus silk. Now remember, you're going to listen to pink noise for 3 hours, and then you'll listen to silk for 1 hour, and then you'll listen to the crickets for another hour. The whole time here, I want you to find a good mixing point where the sound therapy is softer than your tinnitus. Now, for most of you who actually try to bring the sound therapy louder than your tinnitus, you'll notice one of two things. Number one, no matter how high you bring the sound therapy, it doesn't completely cover the tinnitus. And number two, if you bring the sound therapy loud to even try to fully cover your tinnitus, it's going to pass a certain point that's just annoying. It's just bothersome. And tinnitus retraining therapy protocol states that you should never surpass a volume of sound therapy that's annoying or bothersome. With that in mind, your job here is to listen to pink noise for 3 hours, tinnitus silk for 1 hour, and then the crickets sound for another hour. Have that experience, take some notes, and ask yourself, was this a positive, helpful, soothing type experience? Was this neutral? It was neither good nor bad. It was just there. I didn't notice much change to my tinnitus, but it was there. Or number three, did it create a negative response? You didn't like it. You may have perceived that your tinnitus got louder or something along those lines. I want you to document that for each one of these sounds, and then come back tomorrow with a better knowledge on what type of sound works for you best. So we have tinnitus silk, we have crickets, and we have pink noise. If you go through all of those sounds and you wanted to add an extra type sound, then I do have some natural water sounds that we could play. Let's listen to the cricket sound here for about 10 seconds just to provide that sample. On google.com, I'm going to now search tinnitus crickets, and you can see that this one is the first one that shows up. This is the one that I showed you earlier. This is my audio sound that I put on my YouTube channel. All right, now if you go on Google on your smartphone, you can search tinnitus crickets, and you have to find that green icon there under videos. And then you can go in and hear that sound therapy as well. So those are the two different ways to find the cricket sound. You can also find it from YouTube search. All right, now what if you go through all these sounds and you're overachiever and you want to try some other sounds? So we'll search sound therapy for tinnitus, water, river. And you can see it's this one that I posted right here. So we can go ahead and click that, and we can listen to that as well. I'll let you hear that type of sound to get a sample of that one. I can search tinnitus sound therapy, water, river. So you can do this for those three sounds I showed you: tinnitus silk, tinnitus crickets, and then sound therapy for tinnitus, water, and a river. So you can listen to each of those for 1 hour, And in addition, you've already heard the pink noise for 3 hours. So that's your homework for today and tonight until we meet again tomorrow, is to hear those different types of sound therapies. We have pink noise for 3 hours, tinnitus silk for 1 hour, crickets for 1 hour. Then if you want some extra credit, you can listen to the tinnitus sound therapy water in a river for 1 hour as well. And try to do this during daytime hours so you can really get a sense of the effects it has. Um, from there, we're going to review what you learned and talk about next steps in day 2 of our challenge. We're starting with the fundamentals here, and I know that the demonstration of playing the audio, this is through Zoom, this is over your smartphone or through your computer, this is live via the internet. It's not the best audio quality, I know that, but for you, probably just playing it through your smartphone is the best free sound therapy machine you have. If you have a little speaker at home, you can play it through that speaker. That's okay. Just remember to really find that mixing point so it's not overpowering your tinnitus. It's at a comfortable listening level, but you can still hear conversations. You can still hear other sounds around you. And as was asked earlier, what if there's other sounds happening in my house? Or what if, I hear something else? That's fine. Everyday sounds are fine. That can happen during this challenge.